African leaders.
The leaders of the coup have announced the suspension of uranium exports to France and other European countries and are warning the West and ECOWAS not to order a military intervention. Victoria Gatenby, Al Jazeera.
Breaking news. France gearing up to do rescue mission for their spies, citizens in Niger.
France plans to evacuate hundreds of French and European citizens from Niger over the next 24 hours. Its foreign ministry held a crisis meeting in Paris earlier to coordinate the operation. That follows attacks on the French embassy in the capital, Niamey, and the closure of Niger's borders after President Mohamed Bazoum was deposed last week. The leaders of neighboring Burkina Faso and Mali have warned that any military intervention would be considered a declaration of war against them too. Victoria Gatenby reports.
They're working around the clock at the Foreign Ministry in Paris. Diplomats preparing to evacuate French citizens from Niger after President Mohamed Bazoum was deposed last week.
We refuse to apply these illegal, illegitimate and inhumane sanctions against the people of Niger. We warn that any military intervention against Niger will be considered as a declaration of war against Burkina Faso and Mali.
Before the coup, Niger was an important ally of the West in the fight against armed groups linked to Al-Qaeda in the Sahel. It's also one of the world's biggest producers of uranium, which fuels nuclear power stations. Niger produced more than 2,000 tons of high-grade uranium last year. That's 5% of global output. France is heavily reliant on nuclear energy. Niger supplies an estimated 15% of uranium for French nuclear power stations. The French government says that it has 2 years' worth of uranium stocks. Some analysts say Western powers are only interested in Niger's natural resources.
It's very worrisome, and I think all Africans must be very worried or concerned that France is making itself, or has made itself, a former colonial power, a kingmaker in Africa, and chooses to protect its interests, even if that means removing African leaders.